But still, would you call it a Christian behavior? Would you condemn Christianity for that coercion in the name of religion? If not so, what right you have or anyone else in the world has today to condemn Islam for the misbehavior of some Muslim monarchs, which in relation to what I have quoted is just insignificant. It is like Lilliputians, small Lilliputians, who were overtowered by the visit of an ordinary person. Or, on the other hand, when the same traveler visited a land of giants, he was made to appear pygmy before them. Similarly, what atrocities you witness today in the world of Islam, in the name of Islam, let's say, are put to small insignificance as compared to the atrocities committed by Christian European nations. But never will you read a single Muslim writer criticizing what happened in those days in Europe, criticizing not the Europeans but their faith, Christianity, whose name was most certainly exploited. So we must have a larger view of the events of the history of man, and we must not remain limited in our attention to a small area and forget about our past and the surrounding larger world around us. These behaviors are always political behaviors. Religion is always exploited by politics. But unfortunately, on top of this, religion itself is blamed for whatever atrocities are committed by politicians on the innocent civilians of their country or some countries outside the country. So this is the position of Islam, and now I turn to some other verses of the Holy Quran to further develop this point and assure you that Islam should be studied at the sources. Islam should be understood not from the behavior of a particular monarch or a few monarchs in a certain time, because these things change. Times go on moving from place to place in space, and ultimately, if you go on looking at the behavior of man belonging to one religion, you'll find that at different times the behavior goes on changing. But religions do not. The philosophies do not. They are rooted into the sources. So the only sane approach to the study of any religion in the world would be to go to the sources and find out from their scriptures what teachings they gave to the mankind. So let me return to some of the verses of the Holy Quran and tell you exactly where the Holy Quran stands vis-a-vis relationship of Islam with coercion or relationship of any religion with coercion and force. The verse which I recited in the beginning was taken from Al-Baqarah 257 is the number. If you count the first verse, Bismillah, as number 1, then the number would be 257. As we in the Holy Quran, published by the Holy Ahmadiyya community, always count the first verse as Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So the number here should tally to that system. Again, the Holy Quran says, فَمَنِ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ ضَلَّ فَإِنَّمَا يَضِلُّ عَلَيْهَا وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. He who follows the right path follows it only for the good of his own soul, and he who goes astray only to his own disadvantage, and no bearer of burden shall bear the burden of another one. So it speaks of total freedom in the choice of religion and in the acting upon one's belief. Whatever you believe in, whatever you do following your beliefs is your affair. If you do wrong, you will do wrong in the sight of Allah, and it is He who has the right to punish. If you do good, you do good in the sight of Allah, and it is for Him to punish you. But here, what is mentioned particularly is the fact that man punishes himself by doing wrong. So what we attribute to Allah, in fact, emanates from his own wrongdoings. If he does good, he benefits from it. This is the principle accepted by the Holy Quran and advocated by the Holy Quran, which is totally contradictory to the concept of coercion and Islam going together hand in hand. Then it is generally debated in the world of Islam what should be the punishment of someone who claims to be from God. Now here, most of the Westerners are not aware of this fact, but we are very much so aware of this fact. So let me enlarge your knowledge in another area of controversy regarding the use of force in Islam. Many medieval Muslim scholars who live today but still are medieval in their approach believe that if someone claims to have come from God, he must be beheaded. He must be done away with immediately. According to some, you don't even give him a chance to explain himself. If he says he is from God, he has to be done away with and murdered there and then. Surprisingly, even today, most of the scholarly institutions of Islamic world stick to this belief and hold fast to this claim, while the Holy Quran tells us that it is totally alien to the religious thinking or the wish of God how man should behave. Here is an example. When Moses came to address Pharaoh and his own people and the people of Pharaoh, it was conspired against him that because he claims to be from God, he should be murdered. Thereby will prove to the world that he is a false man, because we will establish that God could not save him from human wrath and human punishment. That was the reason why they were conspiring against Moses to have him murdered. According to the Holy Quran, a man from among the people of Moses who had secretly believed in Moses approached these people. He was min ali Fir'auna, yaktum imanahu. And he said, addressing them, أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا يَقُولُ رَبِّيَ اللَّهُ وَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ وَإِنْ يَكُ كَاذِبًا فَعَلَيْهِ كَذِبُهُ وَإِنْ يَكُ صَادِقًا يُصِبْكُمْ بَعْضُ الَّذِي يَعِدُكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي مَنْ هُوَ مُسْرِفٌ كَذَّابٌ. It says that why are you conspiring to murder a claimant to prophethood? There are only two possibilities. Either he is a liar, he is an impersonator, or he is true. There is no third possibility in this case. If he is a liar, if he alleges that God has spoken to him while God has not, then he knows better against whom he is alleging this.